Welcome to the E.A.T podcast. It's episode number 29. I'm your co-host, Jerry. The other co-host over there is Russ. Russ, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I like the new intro. It feels like we've graduated. We feel like we've graduated to 70s elevator porn music.
Loving it. We're grooving. So tonight's guest is the same guest that we actually had on our first show that we did together. It's been about 7 months. Russ, I got to say, we lasted a little bit longer than most Hollywood marriages, which is good. And tonight's guest is a USC alum. He's a poker broadcaster, sideline reporter, Twitch streamer, NBA fan. And Jeff, I just got to tell you, we need to update this on Twitter, but the very average poker player has got to go. It does not apply anymore. Welcome back to the E.A.T podcast, Jeff Platt. Let's dim the lights, baby.
Dim the lights. Jerry, Russ, good to see you all again. Thank you both so much for having me. Maybe we change it to below average poker player. I don't know. Maybe an average poker player with my cards would have won the damn thing. I'm not sure.
Jeff, we're going to get into it. But I got to tell you, it was a heck of a run, heck of a World Series. Loved every minute of it. Definitely going to talk about it in a few minutes. But first, my introduction started with USC alum. So I want to know, do you still follow the football program? And with Lincoln Riley just up and leaving Oklahoma after saying he wasn't going to LSU, he gets a great contract, ton of perks. What are your thoughts on this when you saw it?
Well, he's not a liar. He said he wasn't going to LSU, and he did not go to LSU. Man, I'm juiced. I'm so fired up. You know, being a USC football fan has included some torture over these last, I don't know, it seems like 10 years by now, and it's been rough because we're spoiled brats and we're used to USC being the cream of the crop, and that's what we were, and we've fallen off from that with such an incredible opportunity to just be the best of the best in the Pac-12, at least year after year. And that's something we weren't able to do. But I think this is the hire, gentlemen, that moves us in the right direction. This is the hire that brings USC football back. It's already started with recruits, with some of the best recruits in the country, shifting their commitments from Oklahoma to USC. And I just think the whole world has opened up once again to USC football.
Yeah, right away, the minute he announces he's leaving, 7 recruits said they were leaving Oklahoma and going somewhere else. And that QB, who was ranked, I want to say, within the top 5 of ESPN rankings or whatever it was, immediately said, hey, he's going with him. He's following him over there. So, I mean, that's huge for you guys.
Yeah, that's what you want to see. There's really no excuse to recruit poorly at the University of Southern California, and that was the word on Clay Helton. It's like, how could he be a bad recruiter with all of these resources, with all the money in the world, with location, with prime time television coverage? It's just too easy.
I've definitely seen a look at the student body of USC. I would have sold me. I'm not a fan of the coaches jumping like this, but still, you asked me to go to USC after seeing Southern California and the student body. I'm down.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're in. I love it.
So, Jeff, you're a big NBA fan. The NBA season is off and running. It's about a quarter of the way through so far. Not sure how much you've actually watched with the World Series of Poker work that you were doing and playing in the event as well. But obviously, it looks like all roads are going to lead through Phoenix or Golden State right now. What has surprised you right now in the NBA, and what are your thoughts on the season quarter of the way through?
It's a good question. I mean, it's cliche, and I'm going to jump on the bandwagon of being surprised with how disappointing the Lakers have been. I wasn't a huge fan of that Westbrook acquisition for playoff purposes. I still thought they'd be a fantastic regular season team. I thought Russ would be able to take some pressure off of LeBron during the regular season, which is, I think, crucial as LeBron continues to obviously get older and older. But the way they look like an absolute disaster. Anthony Davis looks terrible overall. Maybe he put on too much weight. I don't know. Maybe he got too strong. He's not the same player that he was last year. So I think that would be concerning. And then again, this is what everybody says, but it's the truth. I think how entertaining a couple of teams have been, most notably the Chicago Bulls and the Minnesota Timberwolves. And perhaps we did not think highly of these teams going into the season. But man, guys, like I watch League Pass almost every single night, and they are very high, along with the Charlotte Hornets, I should say, on my priority list. So that's my early breakdown of the NBA. And notice that I tried to exclude any talk of my beloved Dallas Mavericks because they are just very, very boring to watch, to say the least.
Yeah, they got the same record as the Knicks right now. The Knicks were hot for a New York minute, and all of a sudden, I don't know what happened the last 2 weeks, but now they're on 11-11 or 11-12.
You got to get somebody to help out Luka there.
Right. And it's weird. Like Porzingis has had a better year than last year, but something's not working. Something's not clicking, and they look a lot different because the pace of play that Jason Kidd has instilled is a lot slower than what Rick Carlisle wanted to go with.
You can't waste the talent like Luka, though.
It's just a generational talent, and that might be an understatement. So to be just an average team with Luka, like you said, Russia, some changes have to be made.
All right, so let's get to Vegas for a second. How has the COVID reopening gone? I mean, are we almost back to normal over there? The partitions obviously have come down from the poker tables, but are the conventions up and running? Are the hotels back at capacity? Is the strip packed with people? What's the state of Vegas right now?
I don't know. I feel like we just go on a roller coaster ride, which I mean, I guess we're used to in all parts of this country. If you would have asked me that question, Jerry, back in June, I would have said, yeah, we're fully reopened. You don't have to wear a mask anywhere. You're just good to go. And now we've kind of implemented some more restrictions. You know, you have to wear the masks once again when you're in the casino, whether you're vaccinated or unvaccinated. I think the crowds at hotels have been decent. I think business is, I would say, solid, but I do think that some hotels are still struggling. You know, this stretch is usually massive for Vegas, this kind of October, November, December stretch. And I do think they've done really, really well, but it's not up to peak Vegas performance. Now, conventions are back. I mean, we have CES coming next year. We just had the rodeo in town, obviously the World Series of Poker. So we are once again moving in the right direction, but it's been a bumpy ride along the way.
Okay. Allegiant Stadium just opened with the Las Vegas Raiders, as weird as that sounds. Last time you were on the show, we discussed T-Mobile Arena and the Golden Knights atmosphere when you go to a game there. Have you been to Allegiant Stadium yet? And is it comparable to Golden Knights? Is it not up to par? What's the feeling going to an event there?
So I have been to Allegiant Stadium. As far as atmosphere is concerned, my answer is a little strange because I went there for WWE's SummerSlam and not a Las Vegas Raiders game. So it was just me sitting next to my guy Brent Hanks, and we had no idea what we were doing, what was going on, but it was fun. It's a cool stadium. I mean, just the environment. It feels like it's a stadium that was just built. I mean, it's massive, but I think it's compact enough in a way where it can get really loud inside the stadium. So I think it's awesome. Raiders games are supposedly a blast in there as well.
Okay. Russ and I got a thing for the Iconics. I'm sure you know who they are, but Jesse McKay and the other girl, Russ and I don't know what one night we were looking at Instagram or something, and we were like, oh my God.
I'm not a wrestling guy, but I'm a fan of them.
Yeah, that's fair. I am too, and I think WWE got rid of them.
They did. They got rid of them and they went somewhere else.
Ridiculous, terrible decision.
There's been a lot of cuts with WWE lately. I want to say they got rid of almost 100 people. I don't know what they're doing, honestly. It just seems like they're getting rid of a lot of talent, and they're going with a lot of younger unknowns. And I'm curious where they're going with that. Actually,
maybe just to cheaper budget. I don't know. I mean, they obviously got pretty crushed in 2020, like so many other businesses. So I knew cuts would come in some form, but yeah, it's been pretty overwhelming, I would say.
Cassie Lee, there we go.
Cassie Lee, that's the other girl.
Cassie Lee. Okay.
So after we had you on the show, we had Phil Hellmuth on the show, and I'm not sure if you heard the story, but I honestly thought that I was being scammed and catfished. And the minute this whole thing went down, I wanted to reach out to you, but I didn't want to call you. I didn't want to email you and be like, hey, I need an answer right now. But that was what ran through my head real quick. So Phil Hellmuth posts a picture on Twitter of a photo shoot he does at the Aria Penthouse for a magazine. And I send him a tweet from the E.A.T podcast Twitter account. And I go, hey, Phil, would love to get you on the show. Where can I send an email? And within 10 seconds of sending it, Phil likes the comment. And within, 20 seconds of that, I get an email from a nondescript. It's not Phil, it's not Phil at philhellmuth.com. I'll tell you that. So I get an email from a nondescript email, and the subject is PH And the whole body of the email is Hellmuth here. And that was it. So I'm in my kitchen with my sister-in-law and my wife, and I'm like, hey, this is just what went down. I don't know if this is a scam or not, but what do you guys think? My sister-in-law says, oh, that's a scam. Someone's going to steal your bank account information. There's no way that's really him. No.
Yeah.
My wife, she says, no, that's Phil Hellmuth. You need to really respond to that and, take it seriously. So I go through the whole back and forth with him for about a few weeks. Hey, this date's good. This time is good, blah, blah, blah. All right. Still thinking I'm getting catfished. Still thinking it's a scam. And lo and behold, when we come on like this with the restream, it's Phil Hellmuth.
There he is.
So, it was unbelievable. But my question for you is this. Phil Hellmuth was great. The whole lead up to the interview, did an hour and 10 minutes with me. It was awesome. My question is this, though. Why does that guy have haters? Like, what is it that brings out the negative comments and the he's not the greatest? Is it just trolls? Is it people looking for a reaction from him? Because, I mean, after the run he just put together this year at the World Series of Poker, you have to – there's no debate anymore. I mean, you have to say he's the best, right?
It's a great question. Part of it is most certainly there's trolling out there. Anybody who has established the level of following that Phil Hellmuth has is just automatically going to have X percent that just want to hate him and they just want a reaction out of Phil Hellmuth. So whether that's on Twitter, displaying any hate, or whether that's in person, trying to egg him on just a little bit, that's just naturally going to happen. And then I think there's also the segment of the poker community that is a bit upset with the way that he treats other players when he does get him in one of his moods. And I think Phil would be the first to tell you that sometimes he has treated players very poorly in the past. And then I think you have the segment of the poker population that thinks that Phil Hellmuth has not respected the high roller community enough. Now, I think he's come around on that a little bit, but he used to effectively blame variants for not being able to compete with the best of the best. And he would never really admit that he was not on that same playing field. Whereas a Daniel Negreanu, 2017, 2018, he's like, man, you know what? These guys are kicking my ass. Like they're just awesome at poker, and I need to go back to the lab. I need to study. And Hellmuth was like, nah, I'm Phil Hellmuth. I'm the best, and I can make it happen. So I think that's where he draws a little bit of his hate. But there's no question about his World Series of Poker accomplishments, that he's the greatest tournament player of all time. And I don't think that you could ever argue that point, and maybe just solidifies it, icing on top, cherry on top, whatever stupid phrase you want to use based on the fall that he had. He's incredible. I expect him to win more and more and more bracelets for years to come. And it feels a great ambassador to the game. Does he have his moments? Absolutely. Does he get out of line sometimes? Sure. But he is great for poker. Your story, that tells you what Phil Hellmuth is like, that he's always willing to get the word out. He's always willing to do interviews, and he's just very open to growing the game. So I think we have Phil Hellmuth to thank for a lot of that.
He is awesome. I mean, honestly, I can admit, growing up playing poker before now, I'm 40 now. So I would say from 25 to even 35 or even 38, I would say Daniel Negreanu was my favorite player. I've met him. I had his autograph. I watched him play. I've sat there next to him. I was the fanboy. He was my guy. After this run through with Phil and the way he was with me, and the display he's put on the past 2 years, he's surpassed Negreanu for me. He's my guy now. He's my guy.
I can see
He's
it.
My guy.
He's so good with fans too. It's not just media members. So good with fans, and so is Daniel. Just every single person who comes up to one of them at the World Series of Poker, can I get a picture? Can I get an autograph? They are both always so incredibly accommodating. And that's something that certainly stands out to me about those two.
I got to say, I don't want to talk bad about Daniel, but I guess I will for a second.
Okay.
I had Phil on the show, and this was while the whole heads up duel was going on.
Okay.
And reached out to Daniel, said, hey, would love to have you come on and rebut what Phil said. I'm a podcast guy. I would love for that guy to come on. Declined. I was a little upset with that.
It's
whatever.
I get it.
Whatever.
I get it. That's fair.
All right.
Hey, if it makes you feel better, sometimes Daniel Negreanu declines my interview request. That's like what we do. No, but I'm sure he just had something going on that week. Like I'm
sure.
Yeah, he's super busy, but he's a super good dude and very
I don't have
genuine, I would say.
I don't have much negative to say about him. I have more positives than negatives. I'll say that.
I gotcha.
That's a fact.
So go
ahead, Russ.
I got a quick question. It just popped into my head, and I'm not huge into poker, but I had friends that were. So when the big craze, 10, 15 years ago when it was all over ESPN, is Phil Ivey still around? I remember him one of the big dogs. He's still relevant these days.
Great question, Russ.
Yeah, it's a great question, and
I like that guy. But
I think he and Doyle Brunson carry this aura with him, this mystique with him, that when they walk into a room, everybody turns their head. It's different. It's a different vibe than Helmuth and Negreanu. Ivy is back. He is back in Vegas. In fact, he is.
Yeah, I feel like he disappeared for a while.
He did. He disappeared for a couple years. He did not play at the World Series of Poker. That might or might not have had to do with his vaccination status. I'm not 100% sure on that, so I'll leave that at that. But this week he was involved with the newest season of High Stakes Poker, which you'll see in a couple months. So those memories, Russ, that you may have of Phil Ivey and just all the cash in the world in front of him, all the chips,
hit
he's
ESPN,
there.
Whatever it was, 15 years ago when it became big, it was on, ESPN 8 the Ocho and everything. But
and he was a superstar. He was part of the movement.
He was all over
it on ESPN. Yeah. He's awesome. He's great for poker, and he's here in Vegas, and he wants to play a decent amount of high stakes cash and also high stakes tournaments as well. So he's in the mix now.
All right.
Hey, Jeff, go ahead, Russ.
Yeah, I have like two questions. That's all I had. Who would you say is probably the best or your favorite celebrity poker player? Like, who do you think's really, out of all the celebrities that you've met or watched play, who do you think really is like could definitely compete with the big boys, if there is anybody?
Oh, that's a good question, and it's really tough to think of a celebrity that could compete with the big boys. I am naturally prone to, and she might just be my favorite also, so this works as an answer to both. Jennifer Tilly, really? She walks in and she fires off with Tom Dwan and Doyle Brunson and Phil Ivey, and she can compete with them for sure. She's very passionate about poker.
Nobody forgets her in Liar Liar.
Right. She's an absolute superstar. And she's great. And she loves the game so much that after they finished shooting high stakes poker, I think Jen and Dwan and Doyle just stuck around and just kept playing and playing and playing. So she can compete with those top level guys for sure.
All right. When you said I got a little worried you were going to say Kim Kardashian with her mirrored sunglasses playing poker.
I remember that. It could be Kim. I haven't seen Kim play. Yeah, it could be Kim. I'm not sure. But Jeff, Richard Seymour probably is another one that comes to mind where he can really hang in that tournament, like 3K, 5K, big time main event field. Richard Seymour can certainly make deep runs, and I know he's worked a lot on his game as well.
All right.
James Woods is a good player too, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. At least in mixed games, he's at least had a couple of good results. But
it seems like he's had some good results.
Limit he's done anything right.
So you brought up, this just popped in my head actually. You brought up high stakes poker. Take us behind the scenes for a second. So you bring in all these guys to play, Jeff. What do? They just play for like say 10 hours and they make 10 shows out of it. How does that work?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they shoot for 6 to 8-ish hours with breaks every 2 hours or so, just like you would see in a tournament. And so the crew is all set up. They come in a little bit early to do some behind the scenes interviews, and that's pretty much it. And then we just rock and roll. So we just shoot the entire time, and they use the best hands or the best moments for the cut up television episodes. And that it's super basic, but with that said, a lot obviously goes into a production like that to get ready for those players to come in.
So you'll have say 10, 12, whatever guys and girls come in, and you'll have, 6 or 8 at a table for the show for 2 hours. Then you'll mix out a couple, mix in a few.
No, it's shot over the course. That's a good question. It's shot over the course of about 5 days.
Oh, okay.
So you'll have a different lineup every single day. Now there are some guys, Tom Dwan, Phil Ivey, for example, whenever they want to play, they'll be in the lineup.
Okay.
But it is a rotation daily, just so nobody has to sit around and wait and wonder when they get the call in. There are backups in case somebody goes busto and we're only 2 hours into filming and they don't want to play anymore. Then there are backups that are on call that will come and fill in.
Okay. This year's World Series of Poker, I got a bunch of questions about this, but in a series of words or even a word, how would you describe it?
The word I would choose would probably be fascinating, because it was so, like, it felt so different and so normal all at the same time. As weird as that sounds, it felt so different because obviously we haven't had a World Series of Poker in 2.5 years, which is absurd. So to get back there, it like felt strange, but then like 4 days into it, it was just, we were right back to normal. We were here. We had arrived at the World Series of Poker. Now, with that said, I feel like everybody this year was just so much more appreciative, as corny as that may sound, of just being there, of being in the building, of being able to play at the World Series of Poker, that the overall vibes were a little bit more positive than at least I've seen in past years. I mean, you guys know poker players. Poker players tend to complain a lot and, you know, kind of bring you down a little bit. This time, it's like every table I walked through, everybody's laughing, everybody was having a good time, and everybody was just so happy to be back. So much went into this World Series that, yeah, again, the word fascinating just would stand out to me.
And this year's World Series of Poker was, I would say, record-setting for some. It was record-extending for some on so many different levels. And you had somebody win 2 bracelets in 4 days. You had Sean Deeb and Brian Rast win their 5th bracelets each. The main event winner took home $8 million up top, as you would say. Phil Hellmuth had 2 grand entrances with costumes. And then you had the Player of the Year race that went down to the very last event. All of that, if there was something else or even just something from what I mentioned, what stood out the most for you after you look at the whole World Series as an event?
Yeah, I think for me, it's got to be the performance of Phil Hellmuth. To make all of those final tables is something special. To win his 16th bracelet, of course, is also special. Had a couple of really solid opportunities at 17. And when there's nothing like Phil Hellmuth running deep in a poker tournament, and he did it again and again and again against the very best in the world in the most prestigious tournaments in the world. So that was incredible. That stood out to me as the top storyline of the World Series of Poker, besides the one that, of course, I just mentioned, where, hey, we're just back, finally back at the Rio for the World Series.
So the Player of the Year race went down to the final day, and you had some drama. You had some tweets back and forth. Three big-time players, Daniel Negreanu, Phil Hellmuth, and Josh Aria. Very impressive 2021 poker resumes. Daniel played 55 events, had 11 cashes, $1 million in buy-ins, made $400,000 on top of that, 7 top 10 finishes. I mean, Phil Hellmuth, like we know, 34 events, 7 final tables in 7 different events, 10 cashes, made $1.2 million in earnings, record-extending 16th bracelet, 2 second-place finishes, and then Josh with the eventual Player of the Year winner with 12 cashes, $1.1 million in earnings, and 2 bracelets. After all of that, is the current formula flawed? I mean, you had some people put out some tweets, and a lot of people were outspoken and harping on things that the current formula is not what it should be, and there should be changes. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I saw the Twitter discussion, so I've seen what you just mentioned, and I think it's a very fair question to always look at the World Series Poker Player of the Year formula and see what could be adjusted, what could be modified. Listen, it's certainly top heavy, but then again, wins matter. Wins matter. This is the World Series of Poker. A bracelet really stands out. So Josh, with 2 bracelet wins, should be above the rest of the pack if he's at least put in a decent rest of the series, which he did. I mean, decent to say the very least. He had a 4th place finish in an online event. He had a 7th place finish in the PLO High Roller, I think. He finished 9th in the 7-card stud, 8 or better. I mean, he had an incredible World Series. Again, it was highlighted by 2 wins, and nobody else in that group that you mentioned could match that. Phil had an unbelievable series. So did Daniel, especially by the end of it. He almost made a late run and stole Player of the Year, which would have been fascinating. Yep. But I think that this formula did the right thing this series. So that's why I would like them to keep it moving forward.
Okay. This year's World Series of Poker coverage moved from ESPN to CBS Sports and Poker Go. Now, you worked the event. So after experiencing it, seeing it, and everything else that went on with it after the fact, are you happy with the way it turned out? And if you're not, what changes would you make for next year?
Well, I'm obviously my approach to that question will be a little bit biased, but I'm very happy with the way it worked out. This production crew is just incredible. And listen, I know we're changing from ESPN to CBS Sports, but the production crew remains the same, and it's still a Poker Go production. So I think the only changes were probably, unfortunately for many people, Kara Scott couldn't make it this year, and I kind of tagged in for her as her backup, and I was absolutely thrilled to be that backup. She's an icon. I had no chance to fill her shoes, so I just tried to do something different, and I think we accomplished that. And I think the rest of the team, the rest of the crew did an incredible job, and we put on some really entertaining World Series of Poker main event coverage to say the very least. Listen, I mean, this live poker can get boring at times, right? Even with whole cards. But I thought our coverage was just absolutely fascinating. We had so many great storylines, and yeah, I think our crew deserves a lot of credit for it.
So one of the new things that I saw this year was the tableside interviews with cards in play. So whose idea was that? And when this idea was first pitched to you, were you a fan of it, or were you?
Yeah, for the most part, it was Norman Chad's idea, and he had always had the idea of like, hey, we need to go get out into the field. Our executive producer Dan Gotti had also thought the same. So we went into it with that kind of a basic outline, like maybe we'll do a table side interview once every 2 or 3 hours, and then. Is that whose kids are that? Is that
not
very loud?
Not mine.
Wow, yeah,
not mine.
Wow, that was impressive. Kind of how loud. Where's the mic? The mic is just on the kid. That was unbelievable. Have Russ hit the mute button or something. That was nice. I was impressed by that. There he is.
What did I miss here?
We're hearing your kids in the background.
Oh yeah, he yelled something.
Oh yeah, that yell was strong. It was so strong. I was just impressed by it.
Yeah, that was from the living room. I'm glad it wasn't anything bad. He copied me the other day and yelled out, "Show me your butthole."
That was pretty good. So it was, we had the idea to do an interview once every couple hours or so, and then the whole thing just kind of worked, and it flowed, and people really liked it. So eventually, that's all we did. We would do an interview once every 15 or 20 minutes out at the table, and I really wanted to provide a link between the viewers and the players, and I think we accomplished that via those interviews. So a lot of credit goes to Norman and to our executive producer, Dan Gotti.
Say hello.
So,
hey, guys.
There's the loud voices you heard.
That was impressive. Bravo.
All right.
So, obviously, you work in the event, but you also want to play in some events.
Sure.
So how does that work? Do you go to CBS and Poker Go and say, hey, listen, I want to play in event 1 or event 25, or how does that work?
For me, starting with the main event, like that's the only thing I've wanted to do more than play the main event is to work the main event. So it didn't take much convincing on their part. They're like, are you possibly available? And I said, yeah, sure. I'm in. Let's do it. And then for prelim events, I base my schedule around what they want me to do. So Dan Gotti sends me a schedule at the beginning of the series. He says, I'd like you to work these events. I say, absolutely. This is awesome. This is the World Series of Poker. For people in my business, this is what you should want to do and want to work. And then my playing schedule is just around those events. So I just schedule those. I can only play this event if it does not interfere at all with this work day. Work takes priority, no question about it. And then I'll just play on the side.
Got it. So last time you were on the show, you told us how happy you were with the amount of studying and the amount of work that you put into your poker game. And this is the part of the show where I want you to brag and I want you to be honest with us. But this year's World Series of Poker for you has to be the best run you've had. You had 5 cashes. Included in that was a 4th place finish in event 43 for $160,000. What was that experience like?
I tell you what, it was an incredible one. I mean, to make day 4 of a World Series of Poker event, I am very aware that is a rare opportunity. So to have that chance at a World Series of Poker bracelet when things get real, and to have that level of support that I did, whether it was a virtual rail on Twitter or Instagram, or whether it was inside the hallways of the Rio, it just felt like everybody was rooting for me, which was kind of surreal for me. It's something that I'll remember forever, and it most certainly, as you said, is a highlight of my poker career. And maybe, a little validation, like, okay, the studying does pay off, the working at the game does pay off, the actual work that I do does does pay off in a sense. So it was great all the way around.
And I have to admit, so watching it from New York and following on Twitter and all the other social media, I've been known to be a black cloud, in my time. But I didn't send the good luck tweet. I didn't send the, hey, go watch Jeff win a bracelet tweet. I didn't want to be that mush, the jinx. But I want you to know, from New York, I was definitely watching and rooting for you, all right?
Okay. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'll take that. And in the future, you can send those tweets. I don't believe in the jinx/mush part of this.
Oh, trust me, you don't know him well enough.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Hey, I want to ask you, Nerdfocus. You're always drinking that. What is it? Tell us about Nerdfocus. It's a drink that I'm always seeing you plug or mention or.
Yeah, we call it a little think drink. It heightens your focus. I would say
it's like a liquid neurotropic.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it. It's not like a Red Bull or Monster in the sense that they're not a traditional energy drink. There is caffeine in it. They've adjusted the crazy energy drink formula to come up with a think drink of their own. They call it Smarter Than Energy. So we're on the Nerdfocus train, and they send us a ton of free Nerdfocus, and they're amazing. So I love them. I think they like us at least a little bit. So it works out all the way around.
Quick plug, they're on Amazon for a 12-pack for $30. I just saw it today. If I ordered it today, it would be here Saturday or Sunday.
Easy. I love it. I think that stuff is so good.
Yeah, 2 different flavors. I think I'm going to order one and give it a try.
Let us know what you think.
The World Series of Poker announced that next year they're moving to the Strip. This was the final year the event was going to be in the Rio, and now next year it's going to be held jointly at Bally's and Paris, Las Vegas. What are your thoughts on this? Is this a good or a bad move?
I think it's great. I think it's great for poker to have a presence on the Las Vegas Strip during its biggest event of the year. I think it's vital to poker. It was a long time coming. Is it a little more inconvenient for us locals because maybe it takes a while to get there and you have to do a strip traffic and there are parking and logistics concerns? Sure. But to have the opportunity just to be there, just to be on the Strip, I think Bally's and Paris provide a perfect dual location of sorts. And I think you'll see the World Series of Poker split up in a sense, but split up in a way that will make a lot of sense. And I'm really, really excited about it. It's a really tough turnaround, Jerry, because it just ended. The World Series just ended, and we got to be right back in about 6 months and be there and be ready to go. So I'm super, super, super excited for how the 2023 World Series of Poker is going to look. But I think this 2022 World Series of Poker will be a nice step in the process. I think, again, I think it's vital that we are on the Las Vegas Strip. To have that prime location, that prime real estate during the World Series of Poker is really going to help. It's going to grow interest in the game, and it's going to increase the tournament attendance.
And just because the event ended, last week or a few weeks ago, they're already planning the next one and the one after that. There's no rest. Yeah. I mean, they're planning what's going on, where everything's going to be. There's no downtime, right?
Right. This is a year-long process. Now, sure, they have World Series of Poker circuit events and World Series of Poker Europe, but the World Series in Las Vegas, it is a year-long job for the people at Caesars, led by Jack Effel, to just do what they do. So especially this year, where the process is a lot more rapid, the turnaround is a lot faster. Trust me, they were working on the 2022 World Series at the beginning of the 2021 World Series.
Wow. So you're wearing your No Gamble, No Future jacket, I see. How is that going? Season 2 is coming out soon, I think I saw.
Yeah, we've gone back and forth on kind of how we've wanted to deliver these episodes. We want to be on podcast channels, and we've finally been able to accomplish that. So now we're an audio podcast. I'm not quite sure what direction we want to go as far as video is concerned. So there are a lot of question marks. When Brent Hanks and I get together to discuss the future of No Gamble, No Future, we mainly just gamble. And so we don't get any business done. So it takes a lot of meetings between the two of us to figure something out. But I absolutely love working with that guy. I do think we have something when we're on air. I'm just not sure what that something is in the sense of No Gamble, No Future. We're proud of what we've accomplished so far. I think we've had some amazing interviews, but we do want to develop a show with some sort of consistency. And that was just really difficult for us over these last few months.
Okay. Hey, Tomorrow, the world's most entertaining poker show is debuting. Commentary by Lon McCarran, Norman Chad, Maria Ho, Brian Rast, and yourself. The show is featuring David Williams, Brent Hanks, Ali Najad, and Daniel Negreanu. The Muck is tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific. It's a World Series of Poker Europe GG Poker YouTube channel event. Can you tell us about it and what's going on with that?
Yeah, this is GG Poker presenting final table coverage in a more innovative fashion and something that we have not seen before. They want to change the game as far as poker live streams are concerned, and I am all on board for this. And they're debuting the Muck in accordance with, like you said, the World Series of Poker Europe main event final table, which I think is a great platform to start with. So what you'll see is basically like an inside the NBA setup. So they'll have the studio set up with those 4 names that you mentioned, Ali Najad leading the way there. They'll toss it to the commentators, Lon and Norman and Maria, and then we'll kind of have a little substitution pattern of sorts. Brian Rast and I will jump in here and there. Then we'll go back to Lon, Norman, and Maria. So I'm really excited to see how this turns out. We've had a lot of calls, a lot of meetings over this last week or so. And I think most importantly, GG deserves a lot of credit for just trying something new. It might not work, it might not, who knows? We haven't tried it yet, it might not, but I think it will. And I think that just creating these new ideas is very important to our industry. We can't let anything get stale. So I think they have some really big ideas for the future, and it starts here with the World Series of Poker Europe main event final table.
I agree absolutely with that. Hey, the World Series of Poker circuit events, which you just mentioned a few minutes ago, is coming to New York. It's the first time ever it's going to be held in New York. March of 2022 at the Turning Stone Casino in Verona, New York. Nice. Any chance you'll be there or working or coming or playing?
March is a little bit difficult for us considering we have US Poker Open going on. That's one of our premier events at the Poker Go studio. And I think we also have a super high roller series in Russia to do the broadcasting for. I'll be staying in Vegas for that one. And we'll do some remote commentary.
That time change is going to kill you.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of early mornings, but I'm not sure if I'd love the trip to Russia. So I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay with it. But I mean, any chance that I have to go to new casinos and play, that's something I want to do. So if Turning Stone's an option for me, I love the World Series of Poker circuit. I know this year, if you win any ring, you get invited to their Tournament of Champions at the end of the year. I think this is a nice step for the World Series of Poker circuit to be in the state of New York.
Yeah, poker's getting big here again. Online gambling is coming around the corner, they say, with the process of all the platforms that are going to be carrying it and the licensing and everything is getting done behind the scenes. So I would say within the next year or so, you're going to have mobile betting. I don't know if you have poker games itself, but it's coming to New York again. It's going to be.
I think they just said that. I think they said FanDuel is almost imminent.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's a huge step in the process to get daily fantasy. And then hopefully as poker, we can just kind of tag along, right? Be that little brother to daily fantasy and to sports betting and to just latch on to these bills. And that would be huge for the state of the online poker industry. To get New York State, that'd be a game changer.
I think poker, though, is different, though, than the sports gambling itself. The sports gambling, I'm not a fan of it. Well, I'm a fan of sports gambling.
Oh, you're a fan of it.
I'm a huge fan of it. But the way they advertise on every channel now, they try to suck in the average fan that doesn't know what they're doing. There's a lot more to it. And
I gotta say, watching a regular game like NHL or whatever, NBA,
it's all over now.
The lines are all over the pregame. Prop bets are all over the place, and then during the game itself, the commercial cut-ins for Caesars or MGM or whoever, it's a lot. It really is a lot.
Fair.
Online poker, though, I feel like most people, if they're going to jump into it, they already know how to play poker. It's different than, hey, you could win betting on the Jets today, and and it's a lot different. They try to, in the end, the house is always going to win, so that they know what they're doing.
That's true, and I agree. It comes across as a little bit predatory at times as far as sports betting advertising is concerned, but also at least you regulate it, you legalize it. It's going to help in the long run, I think.
Yeah. Do you do anything other than poker? Like, do sports gamble, horses?
Do it all, man. Sports betting, go to the tracks, go to the virtual tracks, some video poker, some slots. Brent Hanks, my guy, plays Keno all the time. So very familiar across all forms.
I've always heard about
bingo. You play bingo?
I've played bingo before. Bingo is about a once a year trip for me into
Jerry
the Vegas bingo rooms.
I gotta say, I love bingo. We got Foxwoods over here. That's one of the biggest.
Oh yeah,
in the world.
I'm sure it's a big time bingo scene in Foxwoods.
Their bingo room holds like 7,000 people.
It's amazing.
What is Keno, by the way? I've always heard of this, but I have no idea what the hell it is.
It's just like the lottery. You just pick a bunch of numbers and hope that the numbers hit, and it really is that simple.
All right. Maybe just give me a sports game and I'm good to go.
Yeah, same.
Jeff, I got to tell you. So every Sunday on our Twitter channel, our Twitter handle, we put out 3 NFL games that we pick with the spreads. We use the score as the spreads. And I got to tell you, Russ is on absolute fire with his picks. We do 3 games a week.
Okay.
Russ is 27-12
on public.
That is absurd.
Yeah.
That is absolutely absurd.
I had a run of 9-0, 3 weeks.
Yeah, Russ. Wow. I mean, I'm 19-20. I was like 12-5 or whatever it was, and I'm on a heck of a downward spiral. But Russ is on fire with his bets lately. I mean, anyone who's following us certainly made some money if they bet it, because week after week he's 3-0, 3-0, 2-1, 2-1. It's insanity.
I mean, 55% is like really, really solid. Is really good.
Well, listen, I know too that 55 to 60% is your average, professional gambler. Not running just money lines, running spreads.
Right. So
I know that that. I know
Russ is 27-12.
I know damn well that's not. That ain't gonna keep up.
You never know. You can just be the GOAT.
Can't stop.
Yeah, the GOAT. There you go.
This guy bets the freaking. This guy had the Minnesota Vikings by 6 against the Lions, and of course the Lions get their first win.
Of course, you know what? If your sucky team needs a win this week, tell me, and I'll pick that game. Your team is going to get that win. That's the run I'm on right now.
One of those times we've all been through those swings.
I had a good meme I found yesterday. A Lions win is like the McRib; it only happens once a year.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Hey, Jeff, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. This was great. Anything you want to plug before we get rid of you?
Yeah, careful. This might take like 20 minutes.
All right, let's go.
The main thing that I want to pitch is what you just talked about, the Muck World Series of Poker Europe main event final table. That is tomorrow. That is Wednesday, December 8th, in case you're watching this stream on a replay or something. It's on World Series of Poker's YouTube channel, and it's also available for free on Poker Go. So whatever platform you so choose, you don't have to watch it live. You can go back and watch a replay. Let us know your thoughts. Follow me on Twitter at Jeff Platt and say what's up. And it's always a blast to be on with you guys. And hopefully we can catch up soon. And hopefully Russ continues this amazing hot streak, because that is absolutely absurd.
I hope somebody's making money, because I'm not, because I keep ruining it with soccer picks.
Yeah, he's not betting it, Jeff. He's 27-12 and he hasn't bet it.
I bet some of it, and I bet different things, but
okay, that's a little more painful. Yeah,
I usually I flip flop. Either I make my money in soccer and lose it in football, or I lose my money in soccer and make it up in football. They never work hand in hand, and I win both.
That's how it goes.
All right, Jeff, thanks a lot for coming on. And next time we're all in the same town, whether it's New York, Vegas, somewhere, we have to get that drink that we discussed on episode.
Sounds great.
When you were on.
I'm always in. I'll see you at the bar.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jeff.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Have a good night.
See ya.
All right, Russ.
You got a smaller screen. Wipe your screen. Wipe your camera.
Wipe my screen.
Yeah, you're blurry again.
I don't know why.
All right, by the way, word to the wise: remember to take out the freaking. Remember to take out the fucking Keurig pod, the used one, out of there when you're trying to get hot water out of your Keurig.
Oh boy, what did you do?
I went to put in chicken broth and use hot water out of the Keurig and forgot to take the coffee card. That's why I was gone so long. I had to make 2 damn cups. I went and tasted the first one and went, oh my God, chicken broth and coffee don't mix.
Unreal. All right, so let's get into some current events real quick and some NHL, and then we'll get out of here. Hey, Medina Spirit, 2021 Kentucky Derby winner, later was found. Are you okay? What just happened?
I don't know. The way you said that, I was taking a sip. My wife's fucking laughing. She wasn't even in the room.
I don't know what just happened.
Oh, the way you said it when I was taking a sip.
Medina Spirit, the 2021 Kentucky Derby winner, later was found to have used an illegal steroid for a race day rash that they had. Died over the weekend of an American heart attack.
We're talking about a fucking horse dying. Crying laughing.
Oh boy. Well, it took 29 episodes for us to have a breakdown like this. So, in all seriousness, the horse was. Oh, this is podcast gold right here.
Are you okay?
I don't know why I can't stop laughing. Oh,
anyway,
there was no marijuana involved.
The horse had a heart attack. It's not funny. I'm sorry.
We do apologize.
Oh man. So yeah, collapsed post-workout at Santa Anita Racetrack in California. Passed away over the weekend. Bob Baffert's still suspended in New York for that whole Kentucky Derby ointment issue, and it's still not resolved. Medina Spirit is still the winner of that race, and the Kentucky Derby hasn't determined if they're going to remove the title, which is kind of weird because it's been a while now. All right, we're back to normal. Oh, that was great. Moving on to the NHL. The Flyers fired someone familiar with both of us, Russ. Alain Vigneault is gone after an 8-game losing streak and I want to say a disappointing stint in Philly.
Yeah. Although I'm regretting it now. I should have loaded the video of the, if no one's seen it, the canine unit, the dog taking a crap.
Oh,
the Flyers logo right at center ice after AV was fired.
Oh, that was classic. I posted it on the E.A.T podcast Twitter page. The dog just comes out there with the with the cop and whoever else it was with and just squats right on the logo. It was hilarious.
But AV wasn't alone. Canucks also fired their head coach.
Yeah,
and quickly replaced him with Bruce Boudreau.
Which they won their first game with him behind the bench last night. So right away he's turning things around over there.
Well, how many times we've seen that? But
yeah,
it kind of brings up a point though of kind of starting to see the same coaches get recycled. I mean, listen, is Torts going to Philly? I love Torts though, and I don't want to see him go to Philly, but we're kind of seeing the same coaches just get recycled and kind of get some new faces starting. And I'm curious.
So
what happened with Rick Tocchet? He's still out there. Well, I'm surprised that in this whole time we've been looking for a head coach, and
he interviewed with the Rangers twice.
Yeah,
he interviewed twice.
I'm surprised that nobody else picked him up. I didn't even realize he was still out there.
No, but you see, the Toronto Maple Leafs brought in Sheldon Keefe. You see, the Rangers brought in Quinn a few years ago. I mean, you got a new guy here and there, but you're right. The same recycled guys are just coming. Different team. Torts with Columbus and everyone else. I mean, the Rangers and Tampa. It's the same guys over and over again.
That brings up another question too, Sheldon Keefe. How much longer do you give Keefe? Let's say they go out again. You essentially handed the guy a stacked lineup.
Yep.
Albeit some goalie issues, but now you got Jack Campbell playing very well, and you have stacked forwards and one of the best offensive teams in the league. They don't win this year, maybe next year. How much longer do you give him? Being that, like I said, is you handed him this team that's just can outgun anybody. and you're not getting, you're not even getting into conference finals.
Yeah, that division isn't easy. That team is built to win now. They didn't win with Babcock. They brought in this guy, and they're not winning with him. You don't know what I don't know what even what's going on over there.
Well, you just said the key name, Babcock. All my wife heard was, you know what.
So, I mean, honestly, at this point, if they don't win with him, where do you go? Are you recycling in a Tortorella? If Trotz gets fired by the Islanders, he's going to get a job tomorrow. This guy is going to go somewhere with the track record he has from building building Washington with Ovechkin to the Cup winner they were, taking the Islanders from what they were after losing to Tavares, a conference final.
I don't think Trotz gets no chance to get, even if they continued this path, no chance Trotz gets fired. Simply because they started the season on a 13-game road streak, then came home and got decimated for the last 2 weeks with players out with COVID. I can't fault them. Even if they continue the streak just because it started so bad, I wouldn't fault them. I would at least give them next season. And then, but then again, who knows? Maybe this is the downfall of the Islanders.
They've lost 11 straight. They can't win in their own building. It's a brand new facility, apparently one of the best in the NHL. They can't even score goals there. I mean, it's unbelievable. And they play Ottawa tonight. I mean, Ottawa should be an easy win for them. The streak should end tonight.
Should.
Speaking
of scoring goals, how about the 7-5, 7-goal first period between the Avalanche and the
unbelievable
Avalanche
and the Flyers
last night?
The Rangers, our team, the winning streak is staying alive. They lost their goalie. Igor's going to be out for a little while, placed on the IR.
Still haven't said what it was.
Yeah, I haven't seen a hamstring or a groin or what. I don't know what the injury is, but he's going to be out for a little while. They play Chicago tonight and Colorado tomorrow.
We need to get him to start doing some yoga.
Something. And they called up one of the goalies from the AHL.
Adam Huska.
Kincaid was out with a COVID.
He's in the COVID protocol, which I was kind of pissed about because I really would have loved to have seen his Richter-inspired pads.
Yeah, you're right.
So that would have been really nice.
And the Ranger-Islander game that was postponed for COVID has just been rescheduled for St. Patty's Day. That's going to be a booze fest.
I'm not going to lie. That's a Thursday night. It might sound like a Rangers-Islander at the Garden and take off a Friday.
That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, it sounds like a good time.
Hey, moving on to the NFL real quick. Last night, the Patriots beat Buffalo. They now have the best record in the league. It was the wind fest in Buffalo where the Patriots only threw the ball 3 times. You had kickers missing everything, not even, close. What were your thoughts on the game?
I watched the first quarter. And I knew it was going to be a shit show from the beginning. Yeah, they just weren't. You couldn't do anything. It was so ridiculously windy. I can't believe that the Bills threw 30 passes and the Pats threw 3.
They ran the ball, 45 or 46 times? I mean,
yeah.
You had to know the run was coming, didn't you?
Tough. And then I saw something yesterday that Mac Jones said he learned from Brady, I think. That actually kind of smart move. To keep warm, he was wearing like a wetsuit underneath.
Really?
If you looked, he looked like he had almost like the short sleeve wetsuit. That's not a bad idea. Almost acts like a sauna suit, but it keeps you warm. I caught it briefly, so I didn't get too much into it. But it's not a bad idea.
I've always gone with the Under Armour, like cold gear. I've never thought of a wetsuit.
Well, you're also talking about. Well, believe me, I spent many days on the football field. I love Under Armour, and when you're in the heat of the game, it's great. But when you're standing on the sidelines and that cold wind comes through and hits your lower back, your little weeby goes back inside. Under Armour is great when you're moving, but believe me, when you're standing still, they're not windproof. But I got to look more into it. That's why I heard this afternoon that's what he was wearing was like some sort of modified, like surfing kind of suit to keep you warm. It's not a bad idea if that's true.
Okay. Hey, looking ahead to the NFL schedule this week, you got the Rams and the Cardinals on Monday night. The Sunday night game, you have Buffalo and Tampa Bay playing.
Buffalo's got to get back on track here.
They absolutely do. That's my pick to get to the Super Bowl, Russ.
Love
And
you.
then the rest of the games you got are a bunch of garbage, honestly. I don't see much that's good, viewing wise, and I'm sure betting wise, my picks are gonna suck anyway. So whatever.
My Colts are off for the week. I know that.
Yeah, it's not much. You got Cowboys, Washington, Raiders, Chiefs, Jaguars, Titans.
Thursday, Steelers, Vikings. Oh, that sounds exciting.
Oh, I think I'd rather have a root canal.
Oh, no, you won't. Trust me. Where was it? Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, you bring it. All right. Relax. My son's like obsessed now. Right. Enough.
Moving on to baseball real quick. The lockout's been going on for about 5 days now. There's nothing new to report. I haven't heard anything about any new meetings or anything. But as far as the Mets go, they're interviewing potential managers, and the consensus with the fan base is Buck Showalter. What are your thoughts, being the big Met fan that you are?
I don't give a shit. Just give me somebody who wins. I don't care who comes in. I honestly, I wish the whole Beltran thing didn't go down. I really wanted to see what he could do. But hey, listen. I honestly, at this point, just turn this team around. Stop being, the Bungles, and start.
Listen, with the amount of money they spent, they better have a winning record next year. They better be in the wild card, if not winning that division. Anything less than that is a complete failure.
I agree, especially with what they put together and got now. Definitely better put a winning product on the field.
Hey, not that we discuss MLS much on the show, but New York City Football Club is in the finals.
Big win in the finals. And I made the mistake. I looked on the thing and then said they were in the Bronx for Saturday. I said, you know what? I'm going to go to my first MLS game of the championship. And then I found out they were in Portland. My wife said, you're not going to Portland.
No, we drove to Ottawa once, and that was a 10-hour drive. The drive to Portland will be several days. I don't think we could do that.
I mean, if we left now.
Hey, the college football playoff is set. I wasn't happy with the Alabama win last weekend.
No, it was a joke. And then listen, I watched the Oklahoma State game. I was disappointed. I really thought they deserved a shot, and they totally shit the bed. And then first and goal, minute left in the game, 4 tries to get into the end zone to win the game, and they couldn't even do it.
Yeah, and Cincinnati's in there with playing nobody. They're gonna get smoked in the game against Alabama.
I always like rooting for the little guys, so I absolutely will be rooting for Cincinnati.
But they don't stand a chance.
It's hard because yes, Alabama was 3, Georgia was 1. Michigan played Iowa, who was ranked 11th or whatever they were.
Yeah, 10th. I want to say 10th or 11th.
Yes. I still would have liked. I think there is a little rigging going on because I still think Michigan then should have jumped up, but that would have ended with Alabama playing Georgia again, which I'm fine with, but they don't want. They don't.
No, they want that in the final game again. That's
correct. They want to have the big matchup again. They don't really want Cincinnati in the thing, so that's why I think that was done. You could justify either cause too that they did beat Georgia and give Georgia their first loss. That's helped them jump over Michigan, but I think part of it is they snuck shit in there and they rigged it a little bit.
Yeah, that's hey, we'll see what happens. New Year's Day and then shortly thereafter with the playoff. All right, so it's gonna wrap up episode number 29. Russ, next week we'll do a show and then we're gonna take a holiday break with Christmas and New Year's and everything else around there. We'll come back in early January of 2022 with season 2 of the E.A.T podcast, right before the NFL playoffs start. We'll still be posting our picks on our Twitter page every weekend, and we'll do one final show for this season next week. It'll be episode 30. Hey, we lasted more than most Hollywood marriages. I love that. But that's going to wrap up episode number 29. A big thank you to Jeff Platt for coming on the show. If you missed anything, the replays are available on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. Tomorrow, the audio will be uploaded to Spotify. From New York, everybody have a great night.